Welcome everybody to another episode. Surprise! So 2 episodes in a week. We must be on a roll. No, it's just that we wanted to get this out because I was sort of pumped for this, and it looked interesting. And then now we can finally dive into the new Netflix version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which came out today as of recording, which is February 18th. However, you guys are hearing this on the 19th. Whatever. Anyway, to first start this introduction, none other than me, Podolsky, as always, joined by the lovely
Tessa Baker.
and once again, we got the amazing
10 R2s from the now defunct EK Mag.
That's right. And, yeah. You know, Ken, it's like you never got back to me when I messaged you about how to even introduce you anymore because of what you have told me about DK Mag, unfortunately. And, like, I'm like, man, how do I introduce Ken now? I mean, and we all know who Ken is, but I mean, like, I usually always used to say, like, hey, everybody, it's Ken R2 from DK Mag. Now it's just like,
Well, like I said, I already put a copyright claim for my logo. So let's see how that goes from there. Yeah, that's what happens when there aren't enough funds to keep things going. So I couldn't pay for the website. Unfortunately, I lost it, and some idiot picked it up, and yeah, because it's atrocious.
Yeah.
all your hard work has been deleted. It's just sad when I looked at that website after you told me. It was just like, wow.
Yeah, I haven't seen what happened to your website, Ken, but Paul told me and I was just couldn't believe what he told me. Oh god, is he gonna pull it up for
Yes,
me?
I am. This is his site now. Well, his old site that got taken over by somebody.
Yeah,
Oh my
but
god. It's
I
like
had enough.
nothing that... Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I fortunately had enough money to ekmag.net just in case something happens and I just take off again. But I have too much on my plate right now, so that's got to be on the back burner.
In the back burner, yeah. Okay, so Tessa, what is the lovely plot or synopsis that we get for Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 of Netflix version?
So basically, after nearly 50 years of hiding, Leatherface returns to terrorize a group of idealistic young friends who accidentally disrupt his carefully shielded world in a remote Texas town. So these people are essentially coming in to like
Take over the
town, buy the town out, and make it into whatever they want. Which
yeah. Yeah,
Which
and
doesn't
we'll get into that. And the budget for this 1 hour and 21 minute film from Netflix is $20 million estimated of the budget.
No way. That's decent. That's good. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I mean, it is Netflix, but I mean that's what we're paying our $15 a month for, right?
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
Basically, yes. They've grown as a production company.
Oh man, it's ridiculous. Like, how much more do they need to keep upping the prices? Pretty soon, what is the price have to be for people to start leaving Netflix? Is the next question. Um. So let's see. Last time we had Crystal start. So Tessa,
Why am I starting?
because you are a lovely lady whose opinion is always great to hear first thing in the morning. So give us a little rundown of what you would call this Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it?
I didn't mind it, honestly. It wasn't bad for what it was. I did like certain elements about it. But I also was saying, like, right at the beginning when I noticed right off the bat that these kids, for lack of better wording, were coming and moving into Harlow to try to take it over and make it their own thing, and I'm like, oh boy, they're gonna piss off Leatherface so bad. It's gonna be a fucking bloody massacre, and sure enough, that's exactly what it turned out to be. And we'll talk about one of my favorite, let's see here, kill parts soon enough. But yeah, it was just really good for what I thought of it.
Alright, Ken, I want to hear your opinion now. What do you think?
I think it was well made. I couldn't stop talking about it, right? And I waited for the ending credits too. Oh, that's the key point here. Wait for the ending credits because usually Netflix puts those trailers for other films, and I said, why haven't they done so? Ugh. You got a little sneak peek of something after the credits, so make sure you watch that. But yeah, I couldn't stop talking about it. First of all, I got all psychological, analytical after watching the film, and I came to the conclusion that the social commentary here is about gentrification, being that these the youngsters came into a town, picking out the residents from there to build whatever they want to do. That's something what happened here in Brooklyn, area in Brooklyn. Big time bankers and developers started kicking people out. And now the area looks like hipster central. So I
Oh
came to the
boy.
conclusion that that was a role reversal of gentrification. Pretty interesting take at it too.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Um, I also was noticing that once again we have a film that is set in the like so many years later. Like, can we say Halloween and Halloween Kills and now Halloween End that comes out this year, I believe, or some shit. But anyway, so this is another sequel, basically, where it's instead of 40 years, now we got 50 years after the original, which I don't know how that worked because it's just 50 years after 1973 and this is 2022. Anyway, I guess they're in the future still, right? Or whatever. Anyway, I think the cinematography was spot on with some of those shots, like especially when Leatherface was up on the stairs when the mom was still downstairs talking because she just didn't want to leave the house. And I think that's all I'm gonna say for that part because I don't know how much we really want to go into spoiler territory, but I just want to say like yeah, there was a lot of really nice cinematography and some of the lighting even like the scene that I'm mentioning with Leatherface standing up on the stairs. You got the nice window in the background where all the light of the sunlight is coming in and basically making him a nice silhouette standing there, and just that mood right there alone just says enough.
Like, we knew right off it was him standing up at the top of them stairs behind, Mrs. C.
Yeah, which Ken, did you catch on that Mrs. C was the lady that played in Silent Hill?
The preacher lady
The
from
preacher lady?
the preacher lady from Silent Hill.
Oh, right. I knew she
Yeah.
looked familiar. I
Yeah.
didn't want to go. As a matter of fact, I went on IMDb for the mechanic. I should have checked her too because she looked so familiar. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Oh,
also in another film that we like too. I'm just having a hard time placing it at the moment.
Yeah, me too. I just always remember her from Silent Hill.
I will also talk about something else that I liked about this film.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that they had the lone survivor from the first one, her character, Sally Hardesty, come back. and
I
try
gotta,
to.
I gotta touch on that. Go ahead. I got something for that one.
Oh boy.
But I like the fact that they brought her back and she's like on this like revenge vendetta thing against Leatherface, and she's been searching for him for 50 years to get revenge for her friends. So I did like that aspect of her.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ken, how about you touch on what you want to touch on about her?
I think that was a badass move and reminding me. It reminded me of that last Terminator film when they brought back the protagonist, and even though she's older, it just breaks the. Oh, and Halloween did it too with Jamie Lee Curtis. So they're breaking the barriers. You don't have to be young to be a final girl. You bring it back.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah, yeah, this is great. This is great. Got to showcase the older crowd. Come on. That
And
was
she was
great.
a badass for the time that she was in it. She gave off like that badass energy. The only thing
Yes.
is I wish that she would have had more. I guess like a little
Yes.
bit
Yes.
more
Yes.
before you know.
Yes. Before whatever happened. I
Yeah,
agree. She should have had a showdown, a five
yeah,
minute back and
yeah.
forth. She gets hurt. He
Badass
gets hurt.
showdown.
Because, mind you, the Leatherface was way too strong. You should have weakened him a bit. Like hurt his leg, hurt his knee, something like that. And then whatever you want to do with her character, it's the ultimate demise. But yeah, I agree. Her didn't that character didn't have enough spotlight.
Yeah, considering the fact that she was the final girl from the
The
first.
original.
Yeah, from the
Yeah,
original, she was the final girl. So I would have thought that they would have at least given her a little bit more time on screen with him for the fact that she was the final girl from the original.
exactly,
And can
exactly.
I touch on that a little bit too with
Yeah,
what Ken was saying of making them weaker? Why didn't she aim? I'm not gonna really be giving too much away.
I know what you're gonna say. Yes, yes.
Yeah. Why didn't she aim for his fucking legs? There we go. Right? Like, come on. I
No,
mean,
she had the opportunity.
yeah.
Yes.
She was too busy trying to focus on getting headshots. It seemed like,
I don't know. I don't know.
or just
Okay.
getting in a shot wherever she could get it.
it was basically a shot wherever it could get. Right?
There was a couple of times where she was trying for his head.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Even
But
if
the
you
question,
shot him in the leg, though, at least he would have been invulnerable to move. At least
He
right?
would have been, yeah, he would have been immobile or at least slowed
yeah,
down a bit.
yeah, he definitely would have been slowed down, and then that would be the perfect time for her to be like,
Pick up his chainsaw or some shit.
Well, yeah, but that's what she could have like stand over him because she became the overpowering him basically, and then maybe one more blast to the face. But anyway, I wasn't the writer. What do I know? Anyway,
good thing that you brought that up because the writer is Fede Alvarez. As soon as I saw that the movie was getting created, I thought to myself, yes, this movie's gonna be badass because of course he wrote Don't Breathe 2, the remake from Evil Dead. So I knew
Yeah,
I knew this was gonna be
we like
gritty.
his stuff.
Yeah, it was good. Question:
Yes.
was her hesitation? I know we may go into the plot a little bit, maybe a spoiler. Was
we
her
might have to. Yeah,
yeah, was her hesitation the fact that this wasn't Leatherface? This wasn't Leatherface at all. This was somebody else, entirely different. What do you think about that theory?
that it was actually somebody else and not actually Leatherface.
Right, it wasn't him.
That's a good theory.
It wasn't him. Okay, if the movie was set 50 years from the what 1974, right?
1973.
Three.
He would have had to have been really, really
Old.
Oh,
old,
yeah, like
really
70.
old and slow.
Very. And he was already an adult in the original.
Yeah,
Now,
he
Exactly.
he
was
wouldn't
an
even.
adult in the original.
Yeah, this is somebody totally different. That's probably why she hesitated That kiss
Possibly
shot.
offspring?
This is a new character.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, before Mrs. C died, she did say that this is the last boy I took care of, and she was part of the orphanage that was part of there, because not only do you see the sign that says orphanage that was part of the building, but you saw a nice little photograph of everybody that was part of the orphanage, and then you got the mysterious Leatherface that had his face kind of scratched out, so you couldn't even see his face through the pit photo. So even that was the clue saying, okay, so this must be Leatherface.
Mm-hmm.
But you do bring up a good point with that, though, Ken. That is it really him? I mean,
It's gotta be like an offspring or something.
Right. Yes.
Some kind of a relation to the family.
maybe it's a lost cousin.
It's gotta be something. Because I have to, now that I think about it, after Ken mentioned that, I do have to agree with him that it couldn't be the original Leatherface because of the age and the time, like the time difference.
Right.
50 years difference.
The only thing that I just find interesting is like we never really got to learn how old Leatherface was in the original. So let's just say, for example, he was in his late 30s. So in this aspect of 50 years later, that he's gonna be 80 years old. Like that guy did not look 80 years old, and
No.
and the way he was built, he could run. Everything that he was doing in this movie is nothing. I'm pretty 100% positive that an 80-year-old would not be able to do. So yeah,
I know that there are some like older like gentlemen out there that are like up there in age that take really good care of themselves, but I don't know.
I'm gonna say a big fat no.
Yeah. It's very rare. I was about to say that this guy, he must have hit the gym every day, and
I mean, he was very dependent on Mrs. Mick. He's very dependent on her, and when she died, he just lost his shit, and it just went to hell.
And that's basically right.
That was his breaking point.
All hell breaks loose anyway, too. So
Yeah.
and yeah, you could definitely tell that he cared a lot for her, especially when he was trying to give her the oxygen, trying to like really do everything that he possibly could. I don't think he could have tried to do CPR on her because as strong as he was, let's just all agree maybe that he might have just broken her more in half, right? I mean,
yeah.
Was everybody having the same idea as me when they saw the blonde get into the van? Was everybody having the same thought?
Yeah.
she was.
It's like no. Like, why are you doing? Nope. Sorry. I was like, oh shit.
Well, it's not the African American that died first. It's the stupid blonde.
Yeah, we were sitting. I asked Paul right off the bat. I'm like, who do you think's gonna go first?
And honestly,
He thought Dante was gonna go first.
No, I said when filmed nowadays, they have pushed that away.
The stereotype.
The stereotype. That no longer seems to be the case anymore. However, it would have been interesting because of the way they did set up some of his stuff. So in that case, it would have been interesting if he was the first one. But at the same time, I didn't really think so. I think it was more of the other bitch lady that was gonna go.
Mel.
Yes, Melody.
Yeah, Mel talking about what was his name?
Dante.
No, I think it's Richter.
Yes, Richter.
Yeah, Richter. Yeah, how she was like, oh, seems like a man's got to carry around a gun, big gun to compensate, or blah blah blah, and everything. So she was already being a bitch, like right off the bat.
Oh yeah,
Talking about
they
big
should.
guns and compensation.
I've seen bigger.
I've seen bigger. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We were like, both in the beginning, we're like, this bitch.
Where she would be the weak survivor of the protagonist. Where I basically flat out said she's it. She's gonna be the survivor. She is gonna be the final girl. There's no questions about it. And then as soon as they really get into it more, and you see her getting the courage to pick up a gun and stuff because of what happened, even though she had her moment, but you know, it all comes into play. And honestly, I think her character was very strong, because for what she went through at her school, it does take a lot of courage. And, you know, that's a really scary situation that she was in. And the fact that she put it aside so she could try to overcome her fear with guns and stuff, because I think we all noticed, like, on her Instagram and stuff, you saw her, like, you know, her post about anti-gun and this and that, and you saw her flashbacks and everything else, but I honestly think the way she was portrayed was very, very well written.
That is true, but I would have preferred the film to be 2 hours long. Well, 2 hours and change longer. As some of the films Netflix has been dishing out that they have been long, and explore more of her story. She had a lot more to tell. It was a lot more.
Oh yeah, she did.
Definitely did. I'm almost wondering if they would do like another one because of I'm not gonna try to spoil it, but kind of the way they ended it.
Right.
Well, to touch on that comment that you just said, Tessa, but look at like what Ken said. Watch the end in credits.
I'm not talking about just, you know, the end
I
credits.
know,
I'm
but talking about even still watching the end. Anyway, Ken,
I'm surprised no one has touched on the fact that they have utilized an old plot recipe. And I was saying after the movie finished, I said that plot recipe, if it's not broke, don't fix it, go with it, fly with it, because we've seen it before and it works.
what the modern take?
Yes, the antagonist fighting for the mother's honor, just like what Jason does.
Yeah, I was actually gonna mention that, but I thought that I thought that the way that he went about it was definitely did seem reminiscent of like Jason did for his mother, Mrs. Voorhees, and stuff like that. How he kind of, okay, sorry folks, a little bit of a spoiler thing here. Cuts off her face and wears her, like, adorns his face with her own just to kind of like get revenge for her.
Right.
Like fight for her honor and stuff like that. I mean, in its own sick psychological way, it's touching.
Exactly. Because in the original film, we never had sympathy for the killer. We just thought he was just a killing machine. Here we're like, wow, that's messed up. Oh yeah, go get him.
Yeah, I applaud you.
Yeah, because unfortunately, this sad group of kiddos had it coming. Unfortunately, they came into freaking Harlow by means to take it away from the locals and make it into something that they wanted. So they essentially uprooted Leatherface, killed his mother by causing her to have an episode that she could not recover from, and then set him off. And, they had it coming. I'm sorry, they had it coming. I mean, it was justified, in my opinion.
There we go. That's I really enjoy that aspect. We could sympathize with the killer. They redesigned Leatherface much better, in my opinion.
Yeah, so you could essentially feel for him, like
Exactly.
understand, his inner workings and why he does what he why he does what he does. It's not just like, oh, I'm just gonna kill just to kill. No, there's a method behind his madness.
Very sinister method.
All right, so
Can we get into favorite kills?
Yes, I was waiting for that topic. Yes, here we go.
Oh my god, I think like my ultimate favorite is when he goes on a fucking rampage and goes through that entire bus. I mean, some of the other ones, like the singular kills, were pretty good, but when he just went through and teared through that entire bus, I was like, oh my god, it's legitly a bloodbath inside this bus.
well, let's stop for a minute. So with all this, let's rewind back from what Tessa just said, and let's add. As soon as Leatherface stepped onto the bus, what did everybody fucking do?
Run towards the back of
No!
No.
They pull out their fucking phone and
Oh, Jesus Christ, yeah!
they pull out their fucking phone and live stream Instagram or whatever.
Social media platform.
And I love some of the comment that was going on with one guy's phone where it was like, dude, where is this? I want to go. And then you get this last final comment that was like, this looks so fake.
Right.
I was just like, oh my god.
And then the guy that's actually filming him is like, don't try anything.
We'll dox you.
And then that's when they
Everybody starts freaking out and running towards the back of the bus.
Yeah.
Like, let's try to get out the back of the bus. Like,
There's no door.
There's no door. And then, of course, when Catherine finally figures out to open a window to get out it
was already too late.
It's too late for her.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was gruesome.
Yeah, that was gruesome.
My opinion, it was cool. I like the social commentary on that one because everybody takes out their phones when there's an accident outside. Yep. No one helps each other these days. It's very rare another human helps another human. Everybody takes out their phones to record it and put it so that way they're... Yeah, so that was great. They touched on that because that's what people do these days.
Yep.
But the kill scene, once again, I wish the movie was a little longer. Had so many people, you could have had a lot of kill scene, memorable kill, but no, it was like an offering on a plate. Here you go, just kill everybody. Because we don't have enough time. Just kill everybody right there. Yeah.
Also, that chainsaw scene with Sally Hardesty with Leatherface was,
Yeah.
how he hoisted her.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites. My favorite was the last one, without revealing it. That, even though it was expected, it was so quick. 1, 2, 3, here you go. Holds up the trophy. That I get the last word. That was badass.
Yeah. Freaking.
And that's where I will touch on and say I kind of wish, like Ken was saying before, it was like a 5-minute showdown.
Yeah, with Sally. Yeah.
It would have.
For sure.
It would have made the movie more badass.
Yes.
It would have like put like the piece de resistance right on it.
Oh yeah.
I also liked when Melody was underneath the floorboards after
Of the
getting
house. Yeah.
hit by Leatherface throwing a, a shoe or hammer or something. Anyway, it happened so fast that I didn't
It
even
was a
really.
mallet.
It
He
was a
threw
mallet.
like a
Okay.
hammer mallet at her.
I liked that when Leatherface got angry and picked up the chainsaw, that he literally was cutting the floor, just trying to find her while Melody was crawling away, and like the fact that he cut through that pipe of, I'm assuming, the sewer, that was kind of hysterical a little bit. But that whole scene though of just watching the blade coming at her was actually pretty cool. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yeah. The two girls towards the end of the film fighting off Leatherface.
Yeah, Mel and
That
Lila.
that should have been the Mrs. waiting 50 years old for her revenge. That should have been her right there. That
Yeah.
should have been
Yeah.
her scene. That should have been her scene. Not those two girls. I could have cared less for those two. I wanted her. I
Yeah.
wanted to see her.
Yeah. We have to agree with you on that. We were really rooting for Sally to have like her final showdown with him in the end.
It's almost as bad as like Halloween. Not to keep going back to Halloween, but Halloween has so many perfect examples that it's hard not to go back to. But it's like Halloween with the aspect of Nick Castle came back, and his screen time was just his famous, uh, Mike Myers head turn. That was basically it. So it's like, what the fuck? And then we hear that, we're supposed to be getting like an original character type thing back here. Oh, 50 years, this is going to be badass. And then it's just like, really?
That's it.
So, yeah, I will always keep agreeing with Ken where, like, there should have been more with the original final girl. There really should have been more of a showdown.
Yeah, they should have taken, like Ken said, they should have taken Sally, put her in the part where Melody and Lila face off against Leatherface in the end, and that inside the theater. Had her face off with him in the theater, and then have her meet her end after trying to take him out.
Yeah, it would have had a better flow.
Like,
Yeah.
like even the way that he did Sally in would have fit fine inside the theater. That still would have worked.
It would have worked.
If anything, it would have. If anything, it would have like, I don't know, the whole atmosphere would have added to it,
Right.
like the theater atmosphere.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
especially when we got jumped by Leatherface at that one specific part. But if we had that with Sally, especially that like quiet moment, where they're still under the water, like that would have been a great moment to be like, who's gonna get up? Is it gonna be Sally or is it gonna be Leatherface? Yeah, I think we can always keep going back to like Sally should have had more time.
Yeah, we all agree on that one.
Oh, yeah.
Overall, to backtrack, Paul, the cinematography, I gotta agree, it was fantastic. I think there's hardly any negative points here on the film. I think this is one of the instances that a remake actually works.
Works.
Yeah, it works. It works.
That actually worked.
Yeah,
And I'll throw it on the table of this too, since it will be on the recording for once instead of you and I talking, Ken. Um, like you and I were talking, especially you, that Netflix has been on a roll with horror. So in this case, do you feel like Netflix actually did justice for Texas Chainsaw?
of course. 100%. They did justice to the character. Made the antagonist. They built up on his story. Audiences will connect with him more. The kill scenes were bloody and gory. Come on, that mallet killing scene to the head, and they would just
Oh
give
yeah,
the count. That was good. I was surprised. I'm like, wow, Netflix is really going on here with the gore. It was rated R. It's what the people want. Even if audiences didn't see the original and they saw this one, they're gonna connect with this character. Oh, I can't wait for part two. Hopefully, they'll keep the same vibe and don't dilute it. But yeah, this is a good start. I'm surprised.
Oh,
I like the whole lighting and
Yeah.
the lighting and the atmosphere throughout the film too, like the elements.
Yes.
Even like the rain looked good and everything.
Yes.
yeah.
Everything was well put together. And considering, I don't know if you guys noticed, it was just shot on a set. They didn't go anywhere. The next scene was the gas station, convenience store, and that was about it. We didn't see anything else aside from that set right there, that little small town.
Yeah, and then that little bit where the sheriff van crashed.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was it.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They-
where people make fun of the poster where Leatherface is taking a shit in the cornfield.
It didn't have too many environmental elements.
No, it didn't.
No.
It worked. It worked. Wow.
Yeah, and I will have to put it at the environment works here just like it did with the first Outlast video game. It was only
The asylum.
yeah, exactly. Like basically two parts, which was mainly outside of the asylum and inside of the asylum. But it, and then when Outlast 2 came, there was just way too much going on. You were here, you were there, you were in a school, you were back over here. It was just all over the goddamn place.
Way too many.
Yeah, and that's what took I think a little bit of Tessa out of the game, and a couple other people that we know. I don't know how I managed to beat the fucking game, but I did. But yeah, I mean the fact that it would just less environment, and what I mean by less is like less is more. You know,
Exactly.
you don't want 5 million locations in a film because then you're just gonna be like, what's going on? Like I'm confused.
They took one environment and essentially focused on it, and
Yes.
they made it work.
It worked.
Yeah, and that was horrible. Were the kid trying to take control of it, as we were talking about, to turn it into its own community of I forget exactly how they worded it, but it was like away from society. It was like a brand new society.
Yeah.
Or as Richter called it, a cult.
Right.
Essentially.
It worked great. I think I may be speculating here. This is a theory. Maybe Netflix was taking a risk. Okay, we're just gonna invest 20 million. Let's see how this goes. Here's invest in this location, get certain type of actors. Let's work with our budget. And then when a sequel comes out, we could jack up the budget and see if it's popular. I think maybe that was the risk because 20 million, that's kind of low for a big budget film, and I consider it a big budget because it's on Netflix. It's not a B-rated movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then again, CGI type films like Resident Evil, Infinite Darkness, and stuff like that have to cost more than something like this too.
Right. Well, this is great. This is great. As I said to my wife after we watched it, I was waiting all week for this film, and as soon as I woke up, had breakfast, said, before I start doing things, I'm gonna watch this. Let me see if it's bad or good. I walked away pretty good. I'm psyched.
Yeah, I was basically thinking about the film when I was at work, actually, because once I saw, not to cut you off, Ken, but once I saw that first trailer,
Yeah.
it was just like, dude, this looks great, and I really hope, and at the time when I saw the trailer, I was like, I really hope Netflix does justice to this series, because can we all agree that the last Texas Chainsaw that came out, which was Texas Chainsaw 3D, was fucking terrible?
They all were. With Jessica Biel as well. They had so many different environments here, running over there, doing this. Like, what is this? Come on.
Too much.
Leatherface had a lost sister?
Yeah.
Way too much going on took away from Leatherface entirely, and it It made it so you couldn't connect in any way.
Right. I
I almost feel like after this, I almost feel like we all just need to get back together and do a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. That way we can really appreciate this film too, like what we're talking about as well.
but that would just wow. We're comparing apples and oranges because the way the how those actors were pushed to the brink of insanity with the heat, long work hours. So what we've seen on that film is actually how they were feeling, especially in that dinner table scene. They were actually pissed off. Commend the original cast. They were put through the ringer with that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, with this, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed this film, but then I also had some problems with it, and I think that was just like as we already touched on with Sally not having enough airtime. Um, the two sisters were a little annoying at times, but like not terrible, but like it didn't like take me out of the film, but it was just like. But I completely understand what they're getting at. They're young teenagers trying to become an adult, and they're trying to build a community like they were trying to do with Dante and Melody, basically. And the only thing, though, is like I don't know, like everybody else was just insufferable. Like I just read somebody saying like, uh, what was it? The guy, the person, whoever wrote this, I'm not really sure, but he says, or they say, because I don't know if it's male, female. I don't know if it was intentional. I assume it was. The cats are mostly insufferable young people who I wanted to see die. The two sisters were sorta okay, I guess. Um, I mean, the cats are mostly insufferable young people. Well, yeah, because as we kind of were discussing, is that Dante and Melody wanted this new community to basically keep the old history of the town but start anew, start its own town of democracy, I guess. However, they were trying to word it, but
They wanted to put their own mark on the map.
Yeah.
On the map on a town that already had history, very dark history, but they were hoping that they could come in and take something that was a place that was a dark place and turn it into something positive, which just ended up backfiring horribly.
Oh yeah.
And thus adding to the dark history.
Yeah, and I do sort of like how they added the modern vehicle too, where the whole autopilot bullshit. I do find that, and especially the ending, that was great. Especially with autopilot on that final scene right there, right before the credits. That was just funny.
I'm going to mention one line of the film that really stuck out to me, and it actually stayed with me after we were done watching the movie. It was what Sally said to Lila. Don't run.
Oh, yeah.
If you run, he will haunt you. I thought that was a good line.
That was good. Yeah. I agree with that one.
I honestly have no idea what else to even talk about because, I mean, I think we pretty much nailed everything on the head with a hammer. Hammer smash face, you know.
Yeah, I don't think we could cut through much more of this even with a chainsaw.
Oh, yeah. The puns are coming. The puns are coming.
Now we just need to insert the Cannibal Corpse song, Hammer Smash Face, and then we'll be all good. Or maybe we could also throw in Cannibal Corpse's song called Kill or Become, because in part of that death metal tune of Cannibal Corpse, it literally says, fire up the chainsaw, cut their fucking heads off.
There you go.
So, and then one of the chorus lines was, "If you want to live, you have to kill or become." And that's basically the title of the song, "Kill or Become," which is very good, I would say. Like, it would work in this case because you definitely want to kill the bad guy, because otherwise you're gonna become dead.
Yep.
You're gonna become a victim.
Unfortunately, in this film, you don't really identify Leatherface as the bad guy.
Right.
You feel sympathy for him.
Exactly.
But I understand what you're getting.
Well, you know
at.
how hard, like, it's hard when, like, that's really all you know about bad guys. And then it's once the film starts to do that, where you want to feel sympathy for the bad guy, it's like your brain automatically wants you to say bad guy.
Yeah, it does, but Netflix decided to flip the script on us.
It was fucking great. Like, we all agreed on it. That was amazing. And I mean, you know, it's not like I would try to root for Leatherface, but, you know, there was some people where I was like, can you please just kill them off already?
In this film, I'm gonna have to say I was rooting for Leatherface. In a way, but I was also rooting for Sally. It was kind of 50-50.
Right, yeah, it was.
It was a 50-50 split for me.
Right.
Yeah. This is my take too. Things we're talking about kills as well and stuff. Kind of like what we did with My Bloody Valentine. So in this case, I feel like the weakest kill for me anyway, that was kind of mediocre, was
Ruth.
Well, besides her, but it was more of Dante.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
You know that he got hit with a fucking meat cleaver, but, like, the fact of... Which, don't get me wrong, that was cool how they did that, with the door, you know, opening and closing, because it was the swinging door effect. But just the fact that you didn't really see the meat cleaver connect, but the after effect of seeing Dante's jaw and mouth,
The after effects of the aftermath.
That
of
was
his
just
face.
fantastic. But I just feel like that was a little bit like, I wish we could have actually saw it.
And Ruth's kill was kind of almost
mediocre.
It was mediocre and predictable.
Right.
Oh yeah, it was one of the famous type of kills when
hack and slash.
Yeah, hack and slash when it comes to a car accident though.
Stabby.
Yeah.
But the way the way they set it up though, it had a lot of tension.
Yes, I will agree.
Yes.
It definitely had a lot of tension for that scene. How they did it.
The kill scene.
The van.
I agree. Yeah. The kill scene.
I will
definitely
say. Yeah, I would definitely say when that officer touched his hand and he snapped, literally snapped.
Shit.
That was cool.
That poor deputy.
Yeah. Really. Anyway, because I'm all set, but if Ken and Tessa think of anything else, but really, I would say definitely give this movie a shot. Like, you're gonna love it or hate it, but hopefully, if you listen to us after watching it, you kind of maybe get a sense of more of what's going on that you maybe possibly didn't catch on to, and then now you want to go back and rewatch it, hopefully. I would recommend it, and I'm definitely looking forward to see what Netflix does next.
So let me ask you then, last thing I'll ask you, what would you rate it yourself? What would you give it for a rating?
I would probably give it a solid 8.
Okay. Ken?
I said it this morning to my wife. I said this is a 7. 7, just because they didn't give her the screen time she deserved, and I forgot her name. She was involved in the school shooting. She needed a better backstory.
Why?
Oh, Lila.
Yes.
Yeah.
That aside from that, 7. It's solid. It's good.
I gave so my reason behind 8 and went into his a little bit. So everybody knows me as a soundtrack guy, a cinematography guy, and I like some character development a little bit, depending on how you do it. So in this case, I love what they did with Lila. I could definitely see her developing how she got that courage to try to help save her sister and overcome the fear. I love that. Um, Besides the cinematography and everything else, it was the soundtrack. And speaking of soundtrack, right now, everybody, as you know, the company Waxworks Records, they are doing a pre-order right now for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Netflix 2022 film score. So you can get that for $30 plus shipping, and it has a release date of sometime in June. But with the way COVID is, it wouldn't surprise me if it gets delayed. But that's the reason why I have it at 8. It's just, the Leela, I could understand her perfectly of why she became the final girl. Um, the cinematography and basically the film score. That's why I would give it an 8. So Tessa, what would you say?
I'd give it a 7.5. The reason why I would do that is because we're all in agreement. Sally should have had more screen time. I enjoyed the atmosphere. The gore was good. Like the cinematography was good. Like a lot of the environmental elements were like spot on perfect and stuff. But I just really didn't like the fact that Sally didn't get the big scene that she deserved with him after, 50 years of trying to find Leatherface.
And that's just what happened, yeah.
Yeah, and then I didn't necessarily like how it ended, I guess, for lack of better wording, because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. I mean, I like the last loose end bit, but I don't know. It's just certain things just were missing for me.
And there you have it, folks.
There we go.
So that was our little discussion of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Netflix version adaptation, the 2022, and I think we're all in agreement to say, let's see what Netflix can do for the next one, and hopefully, like Ken said, it's a little bit more of a bigger budget, because it would be great for it to be able to present more and fill in the blanks more of certain things. But on that note, I was Paul Dosky, and I was with my lovely fiance,
Tessa Baker.
and we were joined by the handsomely man.
And R2s from the now defunct DK Mag.
Very informative friend.
Yes, that's right. So thank you so much for listening. Hope you enjoy our little discussion. And like I was saying before, hopefully by the discussion, it makes you want to go back to rewatch it. So that way, possibly you can start catching on some situations and scenes that possibly you missed the first time around. So thank you guys once again. And have a great evening, good morning, afternoon. Go and watch it again. And as always, everybody, stay scary.